What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Game Pass in Review. My name's Kevin, aka the Muffin Mon, and today we are taking a look at Transformers Battlegrounds. It just came to Xbox Game Pass, I think at the end of December, might have been the start of January, but it's a recent addition. Transformers Battleground is a game developed by CodeSync, a studio who I've never heard of, but if you actually go look them up, I bet you'll be surprised on things they've worked on or published because there are quite a few notable games in there. But today we're talking about Transformers Battlegrounds. What did I think of the title? I just beat it. I want to tell you guys whether this one is worth checking out. Transformers Battlegrounds, to start, what is the game? Obviously, it's based on the Transformers IP from Hasbro, and it is in collaboration with Hasbro. Obviously, their names come in the splash screen at the beginning, and they let you know, hey, we gave this IP to CodeSync. But Transformers Battleground is actually a strategy tactics game. If you've played games like Gears Tactics, it's similar in the vein of that. But Gears Tactics is a much more fleshed out game. Transformers Battlegrounds, I want to describe it as baby's first strategy game because this game is very bare bones. There's not much going on here, to be honest. There isn't even like an over grid on the map. When you click the character to move, it'll show you a grid system and let you know, but there isn't really much mapped out for you. In terms of actual gameplay, it's pretty basic. You either select your character as part of your team. You can assign their moves at the beginning of each mission. You can choose who you want in the team, who you don't want in the team, what moves, what ultimates they can use, and then you launch into battle with those. You go to one of four landscapes. You start in a city area, and then you eventually go to a mountain area. You go to Cybertron eventually, but there are only 4 acts. Each one keeps a theme throughout, so every level in the act is going to be basically the same landscape. There isn't much variety, and the maps themselves are not very good to look at. They're very low textures. You can tell this game is made with a budget. There isn't much going on the maps, and even the animations. They have some janky animations going on in this game, especially when the characters do their ultimate or certain moves. Like, I swear there's some frame stutter, but maybe it's just the janky animations, the way it looks. Things do not look right. Things are very slow when you have to move out certain moves. Just the way they play out, they take a while, and there's no skipping of the cutscenes. It's very drawn out, and I don't really appreciate that about this game. I will say that in terms of strategy games, because I wanted to play this game, I wanted my strategy fix. The game was serviceable. Like I said, it's baby's first strategy game. It has enough going on to keep you interested for a little bit. It has, you know, the tactical stylings that you're looking for. You want to move characters behind cover, set up Overwatch systems similar to things you would see in Gears Tactics, where if an enemy moves and you've set them up, they'll take damage. But they have different systems in play in this game. You get 3 action points per turn. You can use those to move certain distance. You can use them for each ability you have, and you get a handful of abilities. Each character has different abilities. There's different classes. There's Brawlers, which Gridlock and Optimus Prime would fall into. There's support characters like RC and Wheeljack, and there's scout characters like Bumblebee. So you have the 3 different type of classes. You want to mix and match, find what works for your team. Personally, for me, I preferred having Optimus, Gridlock, and Wheeljack. That's a support, and 2 Brawlers, because Brawlers for me were undoubtedly the MVPs of this game. They are the strongest, they do the most damage, and I feel like their ultimate moves are the best because they do insane area of effect damage, or they just absolutely annihilate units. So, and then you get the support character backing you up so you can go into combat and just thrash people. It's not all just like, oh, click and watch the characters. You have to strategically plan out like where you're going to move characters, who can get a hit if you move them there. If you want to lure enemies in, there are special status effects that some of the moves have. You can anchor, you can shock, which means, they'll do damage on the enemy's turn. So maybe you apply a shock and then that kills them if you couldn't finish them off that round. You anchor them to keep them in place so they can't run away. Something I do like about this game is the ultimate system. The ultimates, they're Kind of cool. I think Optimus probably has my favorite one where he actually goes, just grabs the other Decepticon and chucks them. It's a back throw. You can get different ones. You unlock them in a shop. You earn points after every mission, and you can go buy different abilities. The Ultimate system is good for me because it's not based on your action points. So if you use your 3 action points, you're not done. You have something called an Energon Bar, which Energon, obviously, if you're a Transformers fan, you know what that is. But you build up the bar, and if a person doesn't take all their action points that turn, it gets converted into energon. And once you have a certain amount of energon, either 50% or 100% of the bar filled up, you're allowed to do ultimate moves, which lets you bypass the action point requirement for movement. If they're in a range, you can do your ultimate. These things range from team healing to, like I said, the back throw ability to absolute area of destruction, smashing people along the way. It's crazy. The story of this game, as a Transformers fan, and I grew up watching Transformers, this story leaves a lot to be desired. I don't know who most of these Transformers are, if I'm being honest, especially on the Autobot side. Decepticon side, you have a more familiar cast with Megatron, Starscream, Soundwave, names that you recognize if you're a Transformers fan. They're there. Autobots, though, you have Optimus, you have Bumblebee, the two big ones, but then you have Wheeljack, RC, Gridlock, who's a Dinobot. Shout out to the Dinobot representation, but I'm not familiar enough with the Dinobots to recognize who this character is. And then you have some Windblade. I have no idea who this one is. I just feel like of all the Transformers they get, like where are the more recognizable names? I did not feel connected to. I didn't care about the characters. Obviously, I have my team. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna pick the characters that I like that have the abilities I like, which were Optimus, Gridlock, and Wheeljack. But the story is just so bland. There's no cutscenes in this game. You can tell it was a budget title. You can tell Hasbro really just wanted something out there to make a little bit of money. This is not like a well developed game. The voice acting is subpar. The script is very bad. Basically, for the story, you play a human who gets rescued by Bumblebee, and then you provide strategic overlook. You're in a little robot helicopter, and you can tell them where to go to fight. It's a silly premise to set up how the game's actually played. Fine, but some of the dialogue in this game is so cringy. The actual story is bad. The ending is kind of cool. I do like how it ends. But I have a big problem with aspects of this game. Like every time you defeat a Decepticon, they just let them get away. It's so annoying, especially when you have to fight the same enemy over and over. The amount of times I had to beat Soundwave is so like I've already dismantled you once. Why do I have to do it 3 more times? I get that this game, there's only 5 or 6 characters on each side, I believe. You can't even play as the Decepticons, as far as I know. But they could have done so much more with this game. I don't think this is one that you need to rush out and play. I don't think this is one that add it to the backlog. If you skip this game, you're not really missing much. If you are a fan of tactics games, I think there's something here that you might find enjoyable. Just if nothing's out right now, you're looking for something to play, maybe download this one. It's a small download. But if you haven't played other tactics games like Gears Tactics on Game Pass, that's a much better option. It's a much better story, better characters, better looking game, and better gameplay overall. I think that Transformers Battleground has a lot of ideas, but it just doesn't clearly have the budget and the development power behind it to actually implement those ideas. I think it falls short in a lot of areas. Like I said, story, textures, just graphical fidelity in general is not very good. It's a poor looking game. It is an Xbox One game, and it shows. But the game came out in the end of 2020, so it's not a very old title, and that's kind of disappointing to see. Like they made this game, and at some points, I'm like, this could have been a mobile game. That's kind of how it feels. So that's my thoughts on Transformers Battlegrounds. Let me know if you guys have played it. If you are interested in playing it, come back to this video and let me know after the fact. But let me know what you guys want me to review for Game Pass and review next. Drop a comment down below. Maybe I'll get to it. Maybe I won't. If you want full control, head over onto Patreon. You can subscribe $1. But if you subscribe at the $5 tier, you actually get to dictate what I play and what I will review. So I've been Kevin, aka the Muffin Man. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time for another Game Pass in review.